feuding with possibly Samoa Joe when he's doing his whole independent scene deal kind of runs out. And then maybe, I know that, we have 2 guys that are on the injured list, but they're going to come back probably soon, that being Sami Zayn and Hideo Itami. I could see Hideo Itami and Finn Balor kind of doing something. I probably could see Hideo Itami being the heel for Finn Balor, because I think Finn Balor's doing so well as a face. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when he does turn heel. But I think that having Hideo Itami be heel and seeing how he does, maybe, he could just incorporate a storyline to where, when I was out injured, Finn Balor took advantage of the opportunity that was supposed to be, for me. He just, was thinking like, that should have been my opportunity. That should have been my championship. That should have been all about, me. But now I'm going to make it about me when I beat you.
Yeah.
I think it would be kind of one of those things where I think it's been a while since we've done like an actual jealousy storyline between like 2 really close friends. I mean, we had one with a star and a stunt double, but that doesn't really count for shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, the last one we saw was Owens and Zayn. That's the major big one of 2 best friends. All of a sudden, Owens kicking the crap out of his best friends to win the title, or to get the title defense. But I'll be honest, I had a thought in my head, a few weeks ago when they were trying to find, that 3rd member of the Wyatt family, before the whole Strowman storyline. Mm-hmm. You and I were talking about this before the show. I honestly thought that there may have been a chance that we see Balor turn heel and go into a Wyatt family storyline. And I started thinking about it, and I'm like, nah, that wouldn't work very well. But, that's the fun thing about wrestling and WWE, is coming up with these wild ideas in your head, of these really cool ideas. And that's why I think, I don't know, Finn Balor is going to be interesting to see over the next few weeks what happens with him. It'll be interesting to see tomorrow what happens with him. So,
I think, I had a thought in my head that, about Sami Zayn. We know that he's out injured with the whole shoulder deal, and I think that the best thing for Sami Zayn to do when he comes back is to continue that feud with Kevin Owens, and I think that's another deal where they could have it at an NXT TakeOver, maybe even have it built up to a major match at WrestleMania. I think that would be an amazing match. It really would. And I think that the thing about that was that it would have to be one of those matches where you haven't seen a clear-cut winner, so I think that what they would probably need to do is maybe put in the stipulation that there can only be a winner by pinfall or submission, just because I think so many people would think that, if they do this again, then it's just going to get into an annoying storyline, stuff like that. I mean, that was basically how Kevin Owens won the title in the first place, was because the referee stopped him and said, you get the belt, you beat him.
Yep.
It's over.
Yeah, Sami Zayn, a wrestler in itself, of match of the year candidates, I honestly think his challenge with John Cena during one of his U.S. Open challenges, honestly, one of the best matches I've ever seen. Yes, he injured his shoulder before the match even started.
That's just sad when you just use that.
He got excited. He's in his hometown. He's called up to the main roster for a fight with John Cena, the United States champion. I would do the same thing. I would just be losing my mind if I were Sami Zayn. But Sami Zayn is a very talented wrestler.
He is, definitely.
And the fact that he's going to be out for a while with a shoulder injury it kind of takes a blow to NXT. Because you've got 3 divas called up. You've got Kevin Owens called up. You've got, Neville's been recently called up over the last year or so. So it's NXT men's division. It is lacking a little bit. In that defense, they have had very good storylines with Samoa Joe, Baron Corbin, Finn Balor. Kevin Owens comes back for the title defense and loses the belt and loses to Finn again. But once Sami Zayn comes back, yes, if Finn Balor's still in NXT, if that happens, I think Sami would be champion. I honestly think that would happen. Because Sami Zayn is a very popular wrestler with NXT fans. So, it'll be interesting to see over the next few weeks, months. I'm not entirely sure of his timetable return from his injury, but once he does return, it'll be a monstrous return.
I think that this is the last thing we'll talk about before we conclude the show. I think we talked about this before the show. I don't know if we talked about this during the podcast. Now Seth Rollins has to pull double duty at Night of Champions. He has to defend the U.S. title against John Cena. For those of you that missed it, John Cena came out, invoked his rematch clause, and Stephanie reluctantly said, yes, you got it. And now he has to also wrestle against Sting for the WWE World Heavyweight title. And we were talking about, some possibilities that would come out through it. You want to just give your possibilities on that?
I was talking with a coworker on Saturday about possible things that could happen with one of the only 2 confirmed matches that we know for Night of Champions so far. Well, now we have 3 with the Divas title. But Seth Rollins, here's what I think. I think we're coming to the end of the Seth Rollins authority pact. I think over the next coming pay-per-views, over the next few months, we will see Seth Rollins lose his championships. I honestly think that this will happen at Night of Champions. First, we'll see a match with Seth Rollins and John Cena, with Cena retaking the United States champion from Seth Rollins. Then we see the fight with Sting and Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, of course, getting the crap kicked out of him by John Cena, not in a very good position to fight Sting. I honestly think that, and this is just my thought, so please feel free to give me your thoughts. But I think that Sting will defeat Seth Rollins. Then we will see, because Sting is one of those people. Yes, he's a legend, but he's only fought so far once of the entire year at WrestleMania. But I think he will win at Night of Champions. Then we see a cash-in. I think we see Sheamus cash in if Sting wins the title from Seth Rollins. Because he's a legend from WCW. He's a massive icon. You can't have him hanging out the WWE title that long. So if we don't see a title or a cash-in at Night of Champions right away, we see it on Raw. We see Sting just get the crap kicked out of him, get a brogue kick from Sheamus, and then you see a cash-in. So, and then you start a storyline with Sheamus, because at some point you have to start a storyline with Sheamus for the title, because so far it has not happened. And he's held on to Money in the Bank, 3 months, 4 months about?
Roughly, yeah.
And nothing's really progressed from it. We've talked about this before. Nothing really progressed from the whole Sheamus storyline, winning Money in the Bank. We almost saw cash in 2 weeks ago, but that was just a horrible attempt to cash in. You don't hit Randy Orton and honestly think he's going to be down for the count. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. That's my take. So
yeah, I think that one interesting storyline that would work for Sheamus is have him not cash in that whole 1 year, and then when it comes to Money in the Bank, somebody tries to get the briefcase from him, and he's like, no, I haven't cashed it in. It's like, your championship match is expired. Mm-hmm. And, he could try to win it back, but, whoever the winner is, he just brogue kicks them, takes the briefcase away. It's like, I'm still getting my championship shot. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, what a storyline that would be, because not only would you have, storyline where you can involve the briefcase to some major degree, but also, Sheamus would have like a valid reason to want to hold on to that briefcase, because he never did get cashed in. He never did find that opportunity. Yeah. But your point where you're talking about possibility of Sheamus cashing in at Night of Champions, I don't know if I necessarily see that. I think I would disagree by having. I think Seth Rollins is actually going to beat Cena by some kind of cheating measures or something like that. Do I see Jon Stewart coming in and helping him out again? No.
Jon Stewart, why? I liked you. I love you, Jon Stewart. Why?
I don't honestly think I would see Jon Stewart coming in and doing like another run-in deal where he just cost Cena the deal, especially after like an AA and everything like that. I think he's going to get.
Yeah, Jon Stewart's probably still in the hospital after that AA.
But I do see Sting winning, and that, like I mentioned before, I said that I see Sting holding the title up until Survivor Series, and then that would be the great place to have a major shocker. And to my point, I mentioned having the idea of having Bray Wyatt attack when the referee's knocked down and the authorities all taken out, because then not only are you going to have Seth Rollins as the champion again, possibly setting up for a Shield triple threat match at Mania, but also you're setting up a future feud with Wyatt and Sting, which I know everybody's going to want to see. Do I see maybe Sting going over in that matchup? I don't, because honestly I think I see Bray Wyatt taking some kind of extra measure of just getting in Sting's mind and everything like that, because if anybody can play the mind games, I think Bray Wyatt can top Sting at that level, and that matchup's got to happen.
Yeah.
Eventually, and I think that WrestleMania again is the best place to do it. I don't see Sting and Wyatt happening at like a Royal Rumble or WWE Fastlane, whatever the pay-per-view is for February. I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, because then it would give Sting a little bit of a legitimate reign, and it's one of those things where you see Brock Lesnar do it. He only defended the title at least. I think I want to say he only defended it like maybe 3 times before eventually losing it, I think. But yeah, it would be just for a shorter time period. I wouldn't say have Sting off for like a year or something like that with the title belt. No. I would say just maybe have him defend it once in between to fulfill the 30-day deal or whatever it is, and then just have him lose the title in a controversial fashion at Survivor Series, because like I said, Survivor Series is the best place to create shock value, and what a way for him it would be to have Sting debut Survivor Series a year before, but also have him go in as the champion a year after and then have it lose in a controversial fashion. I think that would it help Sting's career? I think it would, to a point that he's got a world title reign in him, and I'm not saying that he's going to be a multiple-time champion. I think that it would just really help him, because at least they're creating memories with Sting.
Right.
Because nobody wants to remember his only matchup to be against Triple H, where more focus was on the 6 fossils that were outside. Okay, I shouldn't say that about the New Age Outlaws and X-Pac. I could say that about the other 3 guys. Mr. like, I hurt my knees. Oh man, I think I got a heart attack. Oh, I think I said something racist. Brother.
Yeah, albeit that was a pretty good. It was a very good idea to have members of DX and the NWO come out and everything, but
it was just too late.
It was it was a very good match in itself. I think that it was a little distracting with DX and NWO coming out during the fight. I'll still remember when Shawn Michaels sweet chin music to Sting, and I'm like, oh, what are you doing? No, that's not how it works.
It's like, where did he come from?
Yeah.
It's like he could have been like Edge from the Hell in the Cell match between Taker and Batista, where he was just dressed like a cameraman, comes out of nowhere. Be like, oh yeah, no, I was just recording.
Yep.
I didn't do anything. Just one of the reasons why. Oh, and next week, I know that this is a cheap plug, but they're actually going to have the live podcast, Stone Cold podcast with Edge and Christian.
I'll be watching.
That's going to be awesome.
Hey, cheap plugs for Stone Cold Steve Austin any day of the week. I love his podcast. It was interesting to watch with him and Paul Heyman just talking about everything. It's one of those things where you actually see the real side of Stone Cold. You see a very genuine man talking about his experiences and everything with friends of his, Paul Heyman. He had Paige on the last time. You had Stephanie McMahon on. Well, no,
that was the Talk is Jericho podcast.
I'm sorry, Triple H. He had Triple H.
There we go.
On the show. So it's interesting to see that other side of Stone Cold, other than the I'm gonna stun your ass and just get in your face and just trash talk you.
Maybe pour some beers on him.
Pour some beer on you, and
But, all right, it looks like we're going to have to call it good for right now, but thank you, Spencer, so much for coming on to the show,
My pleasure, buddy.
Oh, man. It's gonna be a crazy week going in for this week, and it's going to be a crazy night for Night of Champions. Be sure to tune in, guys.